colors. The next step that you have to do is transfer your drawing to a piece of the linoleum. So I have that over here. I'm going to flip my drawing over and I'm going to coat it with a colored chalk pastel. What we're doing is we're turning our drawing into a sheet of transfer paper so that when I press down on it, my drawing will transfer to the block and I don't have to redraw all the details because you drew them nicely on your block exactly how you want them. You don't want to have to draw them again. So I'm going to very carefully set my drawing on the block and I'm not going to press my hands all over it. Wherever I press, it's going to transfer the chalk. So I'm going to hold it up here because there's no design up here. It doesn't matter if I hold it there. And I'm going to use the pen and I'm going to trace around my design. When I lift off this sheet of paper, it's a little bit fuzzy, but it has transferred the designs to my linoleum block. Then I'm going to go over this with a deadish Sharpie, not a nice Sharpie, one of the ones that are dying, because the chalk will eventually wash off. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start carving our blocks, like this one, in order to create our first layer. Now what's really important with carving is that I really want you to consult me on each layer so that you don't carve the wrong area. The carvers look something like this. Generally, you're printing your background colors first and you're working your way up to the details on top. Your outlines get carved and printed last. So you have to think backwards. A lot of students tend to want to carve out the outline of their design, but you don't want to do that. So in my drawing, if I go back to that, my background color was white. That's how I designed it. So I am going to carve out everything that's white. So on this one, I went through and I carved out on top of the frog. I carved out the stripe of the frog. I carved out some texture in the bottom. And carving is very simple. It's actually very relaxing. You're going to press away from you. This is actually a blade. Okay, you don't want to carve towards you because you could actually hurt yourself. You always carve away from you and you always have your hand next to or behind where you're carving, never in front, because you could gouge into your hand and that would hurt. We don't want you bleeding all over. So I carved out anything that I wanted. And with linoleum block prints, you generally want to leave a little bit of texture because it's a really great medium for displaying texture. Okay? So now it's time to print my first layer. Get a brayer and you're going to roll the ink. Okay. I put some yellow on the edges and I put some white to lighten the green because I didn't want it all the way dark all the way across. I am not pushing the ink onto every little edge of the palette because I want to be able to pick it up and carry it and put it away, and I don't want to make a big mess. Alright? I've got ink on my brayer. I'm going to roll it over the entire block. Okay? Now, you want to get a nice ink coating. You can kind of tell if there's a little bit of a shine on it. And then you're ready to print. So you would select your paper color. For example, say I chose a red paper. And you're going to print on that. This is one that I already printed on the other side, but that's alright. You're going to then take a clean brayer and you're going to roll over your print and you're going to reveal it. Now, what are some things that we notice here? Well, first of all, it flipped our design. These are mirror images. So if you're doing words or anything that's important to stay the way your drawing is, we'd actually have to flip it from how you want the print to turn out because it's going to reverse it. Everywhere that I carved stayed the paper color. You block off. Then I'm going to come back to my drawing and say, all right, what do I want to stay the color that I just printed. Well, I printed my green layer, so I want to carve out now what was green so that I can print, and whatever I carve will stay the color. So what I've prepared in advance is you'll be doing this right on the same block, but in order to use this example over and over again, I went ahead and I carved out all my green areas. Okay? I left the outlines around the green areas, but I just carved the insides of them. And I paid attention when I was carving to carve in a direction that made sense. Okay? I didn't carve straight sideways for a frog. The frog's body was going this long way, so I followed that. Inside the frog's leg, it was going across, so I carved in that area. Okay? Then I'm going to print a different color on top of those first prints. Okay? Here's another print, here's one. You can print in all different ink colors per layer, but you need to make at least 7 prints. Now, let's go back to one of our first layer prints. How am I going to line this up? You need to know exactly how to line up your print, otherwise it's going to be misaligned and then the image will not be clear. So you're going to expose 2 opposite corners of the print by using scissors. So I exposed up to one corner there. And I'm going to expose up to another corner here. So now I have 2 opposite corners that I can line up. I'm going to take the print, and I'm making sure that the tops of my frogs are going the same direction. I'm going to hover it above there, lay it down, and then I can rub it with a clean brayer. I'm going to use my hands, just because I forgot my other brayers. Okay. Now when you print, you can always check a corner to see if the ink is printing well before you peel it up. Now when I peeled it up, looks like I didn't rub it very well at the top because I still have some green showing through. There's nothing I can do about it now. That's why we make extra prints. And now I have my green area and I have my blue area. Okay. I continue this process till I've printed all the colors that I want. So after I've printed on all of my first layer prints, so now I still have 7 pieces of paper because I printed on top of those first layer prints. I have 7 prints. Now I need to go to the sink, wash my block off, and decide if I need to carve more. Now if I want to print a black layer around my frog, I would then go in and carve out everything that I want to stay blue, and then I can print again.